Hello everyone, my name is Masha, and today I'm going to be speed knotting this Hufflepuff house bracelet. Now, before we get into the video of me actually knotting this bracelet, I do want to mention that currently there is a competition running where you can win this bracelet for yourself. The competition will be running until the end of January, so stay tuned till the end of the video to find out how to enter. So, you may know that I have been struggling with alphas for a while. I know how to make them, but I don't make them well enough that I'm super comfortable with them. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, I know that there's room for improvement with my knotting and alphas, so I've sort of been struggling with them, but I've also been trying to push myself to make more alphas, and this month, especially in the month of December, I have made, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 alphas, which is more than I've made throughout the entire year. So I've really been pushing myself to be better, but still, even this bracelet, where I thought I knew what I was doing, because the past couple of alphas have actually turned out pretty well, it still turned out a little bit wonky, and this H here, what I'm knotting now, the edges of the H, you can see some of the yellow bleeding through. Even here on the right, you can already see a little bit of the yellow bleeding through. I might be nitpicking, but also I just know that these are things that I can improve on, so, you know, it'll just take me some more practice. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is if you do win this bracelet, don't expect it to be perfect, because it's not. Some of the yellow peeks through in the H, and then it is a little bit wonky towards the end. I tried my best to pick strings that would work for this. As you may know as well, with alphas especially, you really need to make sure that your strings are the same sort of thickness, because the knots that you make within the alpha have to be the same size, otherwise the whole bracelet turns out wonky. It's either too thick or too thin in places, and even the rows can sort of become distorted if the knots are different sizes, which means that your string that you're using also has to be the same size. And I tried my best to find string that is the same size for the background and for the black and for the sort of orangey color in the middle of the H. But for some reason, even though I thought I got it right, the knots inside the H, sort of the orange knots, still turned out to be bigger than the base knots, which is why the H is a little bit thicker than the rest of the bracelet. But actually, I've since made another Hogwarts House bracelet, which is next video, and somehow it didn't happen in that one. I don't know, maybe it was, I don't know what it was. Just an unfortunate string situation. But still, I'm pretty happy with this bracelet, just because, as I said, I've really been pushing myself, and it turned out good, so I'm quite happy with it. You'll start noticing here that I taped down my bracelet with just a piece of sellotape, and you can really start seeing that as I'm knotting, I'm pulling it out from under the tape, which was really annoying me while I was knotting. I've since, at the very end of the time-lapse, you'll see that I actually managed to secure it properly. I've realised that I leave strings for the ties at the top to when I finish the bracelet to go back and actually twist the ties and make the ties. If you fan out those strings, you create sort of a more area to be pinned down by the tape. So if you really sort of spread out those strings and pin them down with tape along the entire length of the strings, that helps it stay more secure, just because there's more sort of area covering the bracelet, so it doesn't tend to slip out as much. As you can see, I'm struggling here with it slipping out. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about, not more, I mean, I haven't even started talking about it, but let's talk about Harry Potter. As some of you may have noticed, in the backgrounds of most of my videos where I have my face in, you can see my bookshelf at the back, and an entire section of my bookshelf is dedicated to Harry Potter. I have the entire collection of the books. I mean, the 7 books from the original Harry Potter series, I have all of that, which I actually bought somewhat recently. I got them about a year ago. I did read them ages ago. I read them when I was a kid. I read all 7 books in one summer. But I only got the books about a year ago. I read them at my aunt's house originally. Not the point. I also have a giant sort of encyclopedia-like Harry Potter page to screen book, which goes into how the films were made, and I got that as a gift from my dad last year as well. And I also have Harry Potter: A Journey Through A Journey Through a History of Magic, which is like as well, sort of not an encyclopedia, but like it just contains a lot of trivia and information about just Harry Potter lore and the history of magic. And I actually take the thumbnail of this video was taken against that book, and I think before I've taken pictures on my Instagram on that book. It's a really interesting book. I really like it. But yeah, I haven't reread Harry Potter in a very long time. As I said, I read it originally in one go, all 7 books in one summer. I think I was 11 or 12 when I read them first. And since then I have reread them, of course, and I even reread them in Russian. But I haven't reread them for, I don't know, I want to say at least 5 or maybe even like 7, 8 years. And I'm now in the middle of a well, not in the middle, I'm on book 2, but I am in the process of rereading all of the books, which I'm really excited about because it's just, I love the world so much. It's just such a beautiful world to be in. And it's just like one of those books where you just want to hang out. Like, even those scenes where nothing really happens, where in other books I get really annoyed because I want the plot to be moving along. In Harry Potter, I can just chill and hang out. I'm okay with just hanging out with the characters. I really enjoy that. So yeah, I'm definitely loving it. Especially the first books as well. They're so... because they were like children's stories, right? They were written... The books get more serious as they go along, and it's just so enjoyable because you can just hang out. There's no tension yet. Of course, I still enjoy the tension when it comes, of course, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a chill book you can relax in. But yeah, this Hufflepuff bracelet, by the way, there are so many F's in Hufflepuff, and that is so annoying to not, because it's just so many rows of just pure black. I don't know, I just find that kind of funny. But yeah, I feel like Hufflepuff, I mean, it's not an original thought, I shouldn't say I feel like, a lot of people feel like this, but I do also feel like Hufflepuff is a very underrepresented house. Of course, we are getting more representation with this whole Fantastic Beasts series, but personally, I don't want to start like a controversy or anything, I don't personally like the Fantastic Beasts series. I only read the first 7 books. I also did read The Cursed Child, but that's a whole separate thing. Basically, I only really enjoy the 7 books. Everything else that has been added beyond that is not my thing. It's purely my opinion. If you like it, that's good. That's your opinion. I don't mind. It's not like... I'm not trying to like bash anyone or anything. It's just I personally only like the 7 books and nothing else. Well, the movies as well. The movies for the 7 books I like. But the whole Cursed Child and like Fantastic Beasts stuff, I don't really enjoy that personally. So yeah, what was I saying? I was sort of... Yeah, so they are being more... Hufflepuff is being represented more in that, but as I said, I'm not really into that. So that's why I decided to start with Hufflepuff, just because it's such an underrepresented house that I wanted to start with it, because I don't know why. There was some kind of logic behind that. It made sense in my head. But I really do like Hufflepuff. I personally am not a Hufflepuff. I am a Ravenclaw, in case any of you were wondering. Feel free to leave your Hogwarts houses in the description, in the comments, not in the description. I'd love to see, like, what my audience consists of. Like, what houses are you guys from? That would be very interesting to know. But yeah, I am a Ravenclaw. I will be doing Ravenclaw last. I don't know if I've mentioned yet, but I will be doing videos like these for each of the Hogwarts houses, and I will be doing Ravenclaw last since it's my house. Oh, you can see here I did a mistake and I had to undo the entire row. That was so annoying. That is so sped up. That took me ages and it's so annoying. But yeah, so I just wanted to start with Hufflepuff. A close friend of mine is a Hufflepuff, actually. I don't know what my husband is. I should probably get him to do the test. Because he enjoys Harry Potter, but like he's not a fan. I should get him to do the test. I don't know what he is. How am I married to someone and I don't know what Hogwarts house they're in? That's crazy. Anyway, that's a whole different tangent. yeah, and I'm also running a competition for this. I haven't run a competition since, the summer, I think, yeah. So I'm really excited to get into this again. I feel like I had enough of a break between the last one, because that one really stressed me out. I had to do a lot for it. That I'm really excited to actually run a competition for you guys. So yeah, stick around for that. Also, at the end of this time lapse, you'll get to see a super sped up time lapse of like the whole bracelet in 1 minute, which I really enjoy watching. I love time lapses. They make it so interesting to watch, like seeing all your work just. Like, I did this in 5 hours, I think. Not consecutively, but the footage is 5 hours long. And just seeing it just go really quick is so satisfying. But yeah, I love it. So yeah, this is how the bracelet turned out. As you can see, it's like kind of wonky. It's not too bad. I am nitpicking for sure. It's not that bad. But, you know, as I'm saying, it's something that I can improve on, and I can definitely see that. But yeah, I really enjoy this bracelet. I think it turned out quite well. And I'm really excited to give it to someone. So definitely stick around to hear about the whole rules of the competition. I'll leave you now with the voiceover to enjoy the super sped up time lapse and hear about all the rules. Now let's talk about how you can win this bracelet for yourself. As I mentioned previously, I will also be doing house bracelets for each of the other Hogwarts houses. So if Hufflepuff isn't your house, don't worry, you will also get the chance to win all the other bracelets as well. The rules for all of the bracelets are the same. So because I want this to be a little bit more meaningful, I don't want to just run a giveaway, I want to actually have a sort of little community event. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to make any bracelet representing your Hogwarts house. And that can be anything from a simple candy stripe or a chevron in your house colors to a complicated normal pattern design or an alpha. You can even create your own patterns and make them. As long as you can clearly tell which house you're trying to represent, it can be any pattern at all. What I want you to do next is I want you to take a picture of that bracelet and post it to Instagram. You need to tag me in the post, in the actual photo, not in the caption of the photo. That way I can access it from my profile. And you need to use the hashtag #NotWithMasha. It would also be helpful if you indicated what Hogwarts house you're going for in the caption of the photo. If you don't have Instagram or if your account is private, you can also email me the pictures, but I would highly prefer if you tried Instagram first, as it would be much easier for me to find your photos there. Now I know what some of you are thinking. There is no way that I could compete with these amazing bracelet makers I see on Instagram. But don't worry, I won't necessarily be choosing the winner based on the prettiest or the most intricate bracelet. The only reason I'm doing this aspect of the competition is because I want you guys to participate in something. I might just choose someone who did a simple candy stripe. Not saying I will, but I'm saying I might. So don't worry if your bracelet isn't perfect, it's the effort that counts. And most of all, I just want you to have fun. So there you go, this competition will be running until the end of January. And then I will announce the winners on my Instagram and on a community post on YouTube. The rules of this competition will also be in the description of the video and in a pinned comment if you want them in text form. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have fun if you will be participating in the competition. That really is the main reason why I want to do this, just to have fun. So have fun! I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I post videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and sometimes I also post bonus videos, so keep your eyes out for that, and I'll see you next time. Bye!